of it, Antoine, what you got for us, man? How you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Looking forward to this show.
Yeah, you got that smirk in your eye.
I'm happy Chris is here to join us.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, look, we get good representation, when we start talking about the different dynamics of who's who does what, and what fits what. And up until 2023, we have been immersed in the deepest of trenches when it comes down to an ongoing gender war between people that do not agree with each other, right? And Chris was adamant, in the last 2 years, saying, this is not my fight.
And I don't want nothing to do with it.
I don't want nothing to do with it, right? And the thing is, though, having nothing to do with it still does not absolve us from having to deal with it. And even though we don't deal with it per se in our personal lives, we have to interact with people that have been affected by this ongoing gender war. So it's up to us to choose who we want to talk to, who and what conversations we have with whom. And 2024 is about, this podcast, the evening show, is about solutions only. So we're not here to shame anyone. We want to talk about why things occur. Where does it start? Where is it going? And who we should and shouldn't avoid. What can we learn from this? And, how do we vet people better? This is what this is all about, right? Because a lot of times we spend too much energy trying to prove a point to people who don't care about a point being proven. Some people just like endless conflict. So that's what this particular installment of this show is about. It's going to be a 3-part series because I definitely do not believe I got it scheduled for 3, but we might just need 2. But I definitely don't think we're going to be able to answer all of the side chatter that may come out of it. You know what I'm saying? Between now and I might re-air it. Depends on how we go about it. But what's up, man? Tell me about life, how life has been treating you before we get going.
2024 started off a little rocky for me.
Yeah.
It started off a little rocky for me, but I'm getting back on track. I had to understand that unexpected things are going to happen regardless. So I have to figure out how to move within the unexpected situation. You understand what I'm saying? And how to overcome it and move past it, as opposed to dwelling on it and getting pissed off that it happened. Because nothing is ever a straight line, man. Nothing is ever a straight line. There's always bumps and potholes.
Yeah, I get that, man. I think everybody's got a degree of chaos that's always ongoing in the background of their life, and shows like this, conversations that we have with the right people reinforce that resiliency, you know what I'm saying, that all of us can use more of, So, Antoine, what you got going on? Any new hot projects? You muted.
Antoine, hit the unmute button.
Sorry about that, guys.
I see some things just do not change.
Hey, he consistent, man.
I got some prints coming in. Checking some color separations and matching colors to prints and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really got a lot of good stuff. I'm starting to film again, get that back going, and yeah, man, I'm happy. I'm happy to be here. Love the show. Great to be part of it.
Yeah, man, I'm glad that that you see the value in it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm glad that you guys appreciate, the nature of why we have these weekly meetings, right? And so without further ado, I'm going to drop a question, on the bottom and let you guys, have a discussion about it. What can we do as a community to affect future generations from repeating behaviors associated with a lack of sexual discipline? So before you answer, define in your own words what you gentlemen think sexual discipline is.
I'm gonna go. Go first.
I'm gonna go base level. Sexual dis. Are we talking overall, or are we talking just as men?
We're only talking about men right now. I mean, you could give your whatever take it is. If you want to speak on it, just men, and then because there's an inward understanding of what sexual discipline is, and then there's an outward understanding. So give me whatever you think it makes sense to you.
I'm gonna go base level overall. Sexual discipline is understanding how important your seed is.
I like that.
Bottom line is understanding how important your seed is, and the fact that you carry the spark of life, and that's a very, very huge responsibility, and you can't just give that to anybody.
Yeah, I agree with that. What do you say, Antoine?
I'm gonna say yes, be responsible with your seed, know where you're planting it. But I'm also gonna say learn how to protect it, protect yourself. I understand every man has needs. There'd be an unrealistic world to say we don't have needs and we don't have urges. But goddamn, man, learn how to protect yourself. Nothing wrong with brown bagging it. God damn. You know what I mean? Just protect yourself, man.
Yeah. Um, I do believe that we all are in some form of agreement that it's about uh, protecting yourself, putting restrictions, healthy restrictions on yourself, because there's a lot of things that you can do, doesn't mean you should do them just because you can, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's what discipline is, having the ability to do something, but having the discipline of when to do something, knowing where and when to show up, right? And how you show up. Because all of us can go and do the same things, but like your level of discipline is going to determine how far you go with something, good, bad, or indifferent. There's nothing, um, success is not usually associated with a lack of discipline. Do you agree with that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like is it, are you more likely to be successful if you're undisciplined?
I don't think so.
When you break it down to just a simple question, are you more likely to be successful while being undisciplined?
No.
You can be successful for the wrong reasons.
Okay, so that's ultimately my point, right? So, do you believe that a two-parent household is healthier or more likely to produce successful children, or do you believe that a single parent household is more likely to produce successful children?
In this area, though, the stats are already out. A nuclear family, two parents household, the child has a better chance at a start of life. There's no debate about that. Women can't raise men. We can't. They can't. And nothing makes you straighten up more than hearing your father's gonna be home soon. I mean, it's just the way it is. There's a certain guidelines that you need. A kid needs two parents. There's just certain things you can and cannot talk to, and you need that. It's a strong foundation.
Chris?
And even if it is a single parent home, having positive influence of the opposite sex still gives that child a better chance than
Yeah.
just you doing it by yourself. You understand what I'm saying? We were not meant to do things by ourselves. We weren't. We're a community. We're supposed to do things together. And to say that you can do this by yourself and you don't need the other party, that's cutting the child short. It ain't got nothing to do with you. Once that child is born, that child is what takes precedent. Forget how you feel, forget what you think in that movie you got playing in your head that only stars you. It's about the kid. You understand what I'm saying? So to say that uh to have a constant two-parent presence in the house, as long as it's a positive two-parent presence in the house, that does give the child a better chance. However, if you have a positive one parent, but that one parent understands that they need other things and the opposite sex and positive influences of the opposite sex in that in that grouping, if they understand that, then that also gives that child a better chance. You can't do this by yourself. And it's not a question of competence. It's a question of you not supposed to. We not built like that. It's a nature thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. So you and so let's just look at the panel. You know what I'm saying about how we were. Anybody up here have kids?
Nope.
No.
By the
Antoine,
grace of God and the skin of my teeth.
Hey, amen. Huh? So, Antoine, you raised in a 2-parent home, right?
Yes, sir.
Chris,
I was raised by just my mom.
just your mom, and I was raised in a 2-parent home also. So, I pulled a collage of videos, to use as examples of relatable behavior, because we're supposed to be learning from each other's behaviors. Long before books, even before people could read, they had to read people. When you see someone's behavior, you automatically assume you can kind of get an assessment of how that person was raised, right? So I'm going to play some videos, and I want you to break down what you can get from this situation, and if you can relate to it, and if you either experienced it or have seen it in some shape or form. We're going to run down like what's the trickle down effect at the top of a single mother home, okay? All right, so I'm going to play first video.
Clean.
She's deflecting and she's attacking you.
Out of here, whatever you motherfuckers trying to create.
How long you gonna run from this, Paula? Come back to the table.
You know what this mother did to me when he was in the NFL? He turned his back on me. Yo. Wait a minute. I forgot my absolute. I forgot one thing.
Chad, grab that drink. Right now.
Give it
Drink, man.
Good.
Get out of here,
Right
man.
now. Don't play games.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man.
Here we go again.
I'm ready to tell the both doctors. You, and when I get to my son, most of all, mother you. Get the out of here.
What was the question
Wait
about
a minute.
alcoholism?
You bitch, shut up, I'm
Was
talking.
Was it about alcoholism?
Mind your business.
It was about alcoholism.
Here to go this little bitch again. Don't even, I hear you, but in my eyes, she's a kid. It's like, is she real? You stay out of my.
But you're in my, so I would shut the up.
Get the out of here, bitch.
You
I
are.
don't you.
I would run away.
Yeah, bitch.
You're a
keep
pants.
you up, bitch.
Good, you should. Do something.
No, you know what?
Time's ticking. 5, 4,
I would go to jail.
3, 2,
And I dare you to rise.
1. Up, there she goes.
Rise to the occasion.
I would
Rise
go to
tonight,
jail,
puppy
so you
face
can go.
bitch. I'm waiting on you, bitch. You trailer park trash.
Whew. All right.
Jesus.
That's a mother.
Holy sh-
I'm not making this stuff
I
up.
love you, Mom.
I gotta put out a disclaimer.
I just
didn't
love
make
you,
this
Mom.
up. I didn't make this up.
Oh.
It was a shock to me because I couldn't imagine my mother behaving that way. But I've seen indications, of similar behavior before. And there's a lot of people that can either relate to it or they can't, You used to work in a child support office.
Oh my God. Correction. I worked at a place called the Juvenile Justice Center, which is
Justice Center. Okay.
which is basically kiddie jail. But I ran files all through downtown. I ran files from the Juvenile Justice Center to the Family Court Building, to the Municipal Court Building, to the Child Support Building, and then back again. And I've also sat in mediations after my employment there. So this type of behavior I have seen. I have seen this. It all stems from a lack of accountability and a narcissistic sense of entitlement from the parent. I'm going to say this and I'm going to mean this. Dear parents, your kid doesn't owe you a goddamn thing. They don't. They don't owe you nothing. You made the selfish choice to have that child. And the reason why I am saying it's selfish is because you made a decision for somebody that they did not have any say-so in. Once you made that decision for that somebody that they did not have any say-so in, it immediately became your responsibility to make sure that that person that didn't have any say-so in the decision that you made had the best opportunity to become the best person that they could be, because it's about them now. It ain't about you. It ain't about you at all. They don't owe you nothing. They didn't ask to be here. What is wrong with y'all? It is narcissistic and is manipulative to hold a decision that somebody made for you over their head like that, man. And that's why a lot of these kids out here are messed up. A lot of these parents out here look at kids as possessions instead of actual human beings that have feelings and need nurturing and need teaching and need guidance. You understand what I'm saying? And working where I worked, a lot of these parents out here use their kids as bartering tools and control mechanisms to try to keep the other person in line that didn't want them but had a kid with them. You understand what I'm saying? You're not supposed to do that, man. You're not supposed to do that. And that's why a lot of these kids out here are the way that they are. That's why it's Grand Theft Auto outside.
Yeah. All right. Man, Antoine, have you ever seen anything like that?
Yeah, on social media. Dude, I was not previous to shit like that. And you know what? If my father made sure that shit did not come around us. No, man. He was like very strict on that stuff.
So let's go back to, like a couple years ago when we first started this journey, you know what I'm saying, of getting to know each other, sharing information and experiences. Remember when I said we two different kinds of black?
Right.
It's no different than there's a different type of discipline in everybody's upbringing. You know what I'm saying? Like that behavior is normal and relatable to a lot of men and women who have been raised by only their mother. Because Chris is an example of being disciplined on that side of, like what it could have been. Because you don't have any kids, right? And every man faces that in their journey, whether they're, in a two-parent home or a single-parent home, right? You operate off, the morals and principles of how you were raised. And that tells you how you are perceived by other people, who you're attracted to, who you spend your time with, what you argue about, what's important to you, right? All of those things come from how you were raised and cultured in your house. So if you're raised without the boundaries that your father would put on you as far as sexual discipline is concerned, is what we're talking about, you're going to have some different outcomes, because the other side of that situation, being raised by a mother like that, pushes a man into a highly promiscuous way of life. And I got a version of that, of what it looks like. Would you guys like to see it?
Yeah.
Get ready.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead, baby. What you want to know?
How many kids you have?
I got 33 daughters and 13 boys.
Damn.
22 baby mamas.
How many
2 ex-wives. 12 grandkids. Only out of 3 daughters. So imagine when the other ones getting a pop at all. And a lot of times y'all don't know the situation what I was going through on child support, bitch. Let me tell y'all stinking assholes something. In the last 40 years, all y'all stinking assholes who put y'all daddies, y'all brothers, y'all husband, and y'all baby daddies on child support, all y'all did is help the system gain 43 million black brothers and sisters is in jail for child support, you stupid motherfucker. And all you did is tore up your fucking family, you dumb bitch. Then you wonder why a nigga don't want you.
Every time I watch that, you know what I'm saying, it's like, it's not my journey. It's what he said. It's part of his experience, but this is the promiscuous side of the decision making that people use when they're raised without their fathers. Would you say that this situation is more common with or without the father involved? Do you think if you had a man in the house that he would raise his son to have that many kids?
No, that's
without, you know what I'm saying, provisions, without resources or anything, you know?
But the guy would have an example to set his sight how to be. He would have an example of it, of how a man should be. We'd have more of an example of how life should be, not like that. I mean, god damn. I'm embarrassed. Fuck. I'm embarrassed.
This may seem a little bit controversial, but I gotta give him just a teaspoon of grace, only because he didn't know. He didn't have anybody in the house to teach him, and he probably didn't have anybody outside to teach him that this wasn't cool, because we all know that growing up in the hood, the best way to get some type of status would be to bust down as many women as possible and then make a whole bunch of money. It was just like that in the hood. If you had a bunch of kids or if you had a bunch of women, you were considered the man. It wasn't until recently that we actually understood that this is just not cool. But and this also confirms the statistic of over half of us not having kids. You understand what I'm saying? This man has 43 children with a bunch of different women, which leads us to believe that they are all sleeping with the same type of dude, but expecting him to be something different. You understand what I'm saying? So, and you know what, Antoine, that face you had, that oh my God, I can't believe this. That was my face. That was my face every day when I was working downtown between the hours of 3 and 4:30 when I would run these files. I'm like, Jesus sakes, is this for real? That was when I put condoms on the grocery list. I'm not doing it. No, absolutely not. No, I'm not going to be I am a statistic, but I'm not a statistic. I'm not the type of statistic that's feeding off of the, you know what I'm saying? I'm not the negative stereotype. You understand what I'm saying? People actually look at me like I'm crazy because I am the age that I am and I don't have any children. That's crazy. You understand what I'm saying? They look at us like we crazy because we not out here busting down. They think something is wrong with. I can't tell you. I can't tell you how many times I've been called gay because I ain't got no kids, and the fact that I can turn down sex. I can't tell you how many times I've been called that. And that's another thing. And this is a tangent that I'm going to go on. And this is dedicated to the LGBTQIA+. It is about time for y'all to start saying something. No, but I mean, this is around the time where y'all need to start speaking up, because they are using your sexual orientation as a homophobic, emasculating slur against us when we are actually trying to do the right thing. It's time for y'all to speak up. Because we can't say nothing, because for some strange reason, unless we got a bunch of money and a bunch of resources, our opinion don't matter. So y'all got to speak up.
Yeah. You could hear the chaos. It's like when somebody breaks down those numbers the way that he did, you know you can't even fathom what life would be like if you wasn't raised like that. You can't even fathom what your life would be like if you were responsible for that many kids. You know what I'm saying? So now we've already highlighted, like from the mother to the son, you know what I'm saying? What that looks like, right? Well, what about the daughters? How do you think the daughters will be raised? Because see, the guy just got through talking with the 43 kids, right? And he talked about his kids and how they already got kids. So you already see the lead in for what it looks like for the women that lead, that come from underneath the same roof, right? So what do you think it's going to be?
They're going to follow suit. They're going to follow suit until they actually come across somebody that can actually. They're going to follow suit until they come across somebody that they have enough respect for to listen to.
And most times, the person they finally listen to, it's probably too late. But I'm going to play the video of what it sounds like when you have a daughter that's raised underneath the same type of household, okay?
Hey, Anonymous caller, how are you?
Hey.
You want to share a secret with me and Mano?
Yes.
Okay, we're listening.
So I have 9 children. by different fathers. I only know who 3 of their fathers are.
You don't know who 3 of the fathers are? That's what you said?
I only know.
She only knows 3 of the fathers. So all 9 children have 9 different fathers.
I would think those 3 have the same one.
So 3 of the kids have the same father, but 6 of them have different fathers?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a secret. No one knows this?
No.
So who do people think the other 6 children, who the father is?
Whoever I tell them.
Oh, God.
So
what?
Okay.
But how do you, just a question, me not judging. How do you not know who the fathers are? Was you like just pound town? You was what?
I was out there.
He was out there.
You was out there.
So nobody's asked for a paternity test?
No.
No, all right. Well,
So, but you have like a basic understanding of who it could be, right? Like out of maybe 30 guys or?
I think I do, but the sad part is it was so long ago, I don't even remember half their names. So, like, when my son asks me, I literally make up a name, and I've tried to remember that name I made up, but...
So you just having these babies?
Like, recently, I can't remember.
Wow. Well, more power. I mean, I wish you the best of luck.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
So I played that video
Jesus
to associate the guy with the 43 kids with the woman that's got 9 kids, and all have different mothers and fathers for both the children. Okay. And the reason I did that is because I got to show who's attracted to who. Because it's not like in this situation, hey, am I making the connection? Just tell me when I miss, okay?
Do you see why I'm always pissed off? Do you understand why I'm always angry? Do you get it now? You can't know what I know and see what I see and not be pissed off. These people think this is normal. This is systematic. And the reason why I'm saying it's systematic because for a long time, we have been taught that a family starts with a woman and a child instead of a woman and a husband and then a child. That's what we were taught. Systematically, dating back to, you know what? Nope, I'm not going down that tangent because if I go down this tangent, your channel might get shut down. I'm not gonna do that to you.
We'll
I'm
save
not
it
gonna
for
do that
backstage. Hey, because we're gonna talk about it more in depth and then see what we can, dissect further. Because
this is amazing.
Hey, but so before we go forward, right? I want to establish something because we watched 3 videos, right? We got the mom, the daughter, and the son. Got 2. I think I played 2 videos that showed the sons. You know what I'm saying? One was in court, and and young, because that's what happens before you get to 43. You know what I'm saying? He had 2, and he was at 18, and you already saw the behavior that was going along with it too. Then we already talked about the little girls that said they don't want a husband because of child support. And matter of fact, let me just recap it with
8th grade girls, and I asked them to tell me what their goals were. This one particular young lady said that she wanted to have 2 kids. So I said, so are you going to have a husband? And she said, nope. And I said, please tell me why you would choose in the 8th grade to have a goal of having 2 kids and not be married. She said, because if I'm married to him, I can't collect child support. And then she said, why should I marry a man that I have kids by? He might have issues or something. He might be on drugs. And I said, well, if he's too bad to be your husband, do you really think he's going to make a better father?
Okay, so that little group of girls grows up alongside young men that behave like this.
Ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am?
See, we're going to get it right in here today. I don't know who's teaching you, but I'm going to give you a lesson.
I'm teaching them.
Well, you're not. Because when I say something, the answer's not what? The answer's not what?
Okay.
You didn't teach him.
You
didn't teach him correctly. But I am going to today, because what he's not going to do is stand in this courtroom and potentially have 2 children at 18 years of age.
Well, maybe if he would.
No.
So you see like who's attracted to who as you make these steps, right? And that's the recap we got so far. Now, what boils down to is this right here. These people are known, they exist. Like there's no need to say look out for this right here. You're either attracted to that or not at all, because if you just sit down and just break it down, right? Chris, you always on point with the stats. How many men do not have children?
When last I looked, it was 54% of us don't have any children, and it actually dropped 4% from 58 because more men are getting married.
Okay, so we're gonna take out, for the sake of discussion, we're gonna take out half the men. So we're gonna work with 50% of the pie, right? So there's 50% of men do not have children. They did not contribute to this. Okay. All right. So the remainder of the pie is comprised of married men, virgins, who are not part of it either. That's like what I think that number's around 30% or something like that.
I think it's 1 out of every 3 of us are married.
So 30.
No, I'm sorry, I take that back. Over half of us don't have children, and out of the half that, out of the half that are left, 1 out of 3 of them are married.
Okay, so that means we're just round number, we're gonna take 30% away from that group, right? So if you got 40 or 50% remaining, that takes out 12.5% automatically. So now you got 12.5% minus 50 gives us 37.5%, right? So out of remaining 37.5, we got men with children that are not married, right? Out of the 37%, how many of those men are virgins? Because the virgin is still a thing in the male population, because they're just simply some men that just can't get none. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. They call them incels.
You know what I'm saying? So then you still got the remainder of the population that's making children, because you just said 12.5% are married and they got kids, right? Then we got the virgin population, which is part of the remaining 37%. And I think the last number I saw was like 37% of 30% of men are virgins.
No.
What is it? Clarify.
I misspoke. Over half of us don't have kids, and then 1 out of 3 of us, 1 out of 3 of them, because I'm not married, 1 out of 3 of them are married. So that's 80% of the men. So really 20% is left.
Okay, so out of the 20% remaining, there's a population of virgins.
But see, that will fall under the men that don't have kids.
Okay, yeah.
Never been married.
Okay,
that will fall under that.
Okay, so out of the remaining percentage, what I do know is that 25% of women are married. So take them out the mix. 80% of children are born out of wedlock, with less than 20% of men. And I just played you some versions of men that got a ton of kids, right? So what does it look like on the backside, and what's the assessment? It's not just women all competing for the same guy. I got that part. We gotta put some boundaries on it that are just clear cut. Women are far more sexually undisciplined than men.
I don't know if I would say. Well, listen. Based on those numbers,
the numbers we just
no. That's what I'm saying. Based on those numbers and the stats, yes. Because I don't know how any woman would sleep with a guy with 23 kids and counting. Like, I don't know what you're spreading it for, but it cannot be worth your life.
All we want to talk about is statistics here.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Statistically, women are far more sexually undisciplined than men. Does anybody disagree with that?
if and like I said when we was backstage, man, us talking like this allows people watching this to put us in a box that we have absolutely no business in. Listen,
We ain't in that box though, Chris. We ain't in that box.
I know that, you know that, Vic knows that, and the people that are watching this that actually have a little bit of sense know that. But the vast majority of them will look at what we are saying as an attack instead of us actually looking at what it is from an objective point of view. This is why I said earlier that I didn't want anything to do with this fight because I pulled myself out of it. Everybody says that the dating pool has piss in it. So I got out of the dating pool and I took a goddamn shower. And now I'm looking at it for what it is. This is what it is. You understand what I'm saying?
And this is why
I can't paint a broad brush.
But see, this is the thing. I'm reframing the discussion because men are choosing whatever they're choosing, but nobody's really breaking down why men are choosing. You know what I'm saying? What they're choosing.
Those are their options.
Yeah, because these are the options, right? And so these dynamics hit different depending on, you know what I'm saying, how you was raised. Because you may not even care about none of this stuff if you raised a certain type of way. But if you got any type of accountability, any type of discipline, you're going to go look at your odds first. The numbers matter, right? Numbers matter far more to men than women, obviously, you know. And in this situation, you want to make a calculated and logical decision based on where you stand, you know. So moving forward, what does the community look like when, you know, like these kids become of age? I've shown you some extremes. All of these videos are going to be extreme, by the way. You know what I'm saying? So, because once you get a certain type of information, you should be making different decisions, right? What you would hope is that the women that see this, they're like, oh, this is the part where I fit in, because you either got these similar metrics or you don't. So if you take the numbers out of it and we just talk about the behavior, you gotta either relate to it or you can't relate to it, right? And if you can't relate to it, you just didn't know that this was going on. Just like Antoine's like, you saw him sit up there saying, oh my God, I didn't know that.
I saw the shock in his face.
It's a shock in his face, man. I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, I'm blown away because I can't believe women would sleep with, I mean, God.
But see, this is
sleep with a guy like that, like.
This is where,
and then they want a high value man.
Don't even bring that part up. We don't even talk about.
We are not doing that tonight, Antoine. We are not doing that. No, absolutely not.
Look, you're not doing that, okay?
But see, that's the thing, and here's where I hold myself accountable. Working where I've worked, seeing what I have seen, and living how I have lived and seeing how I was brought up and looking at everything that was around me, I'm a bit jaded because I have different information than the average person. Most people get their information off of what they see on their computer screen or what they see on their cell phone. This is also why I do 6 months of hell and I get the hell off of social media and actually live in the real world. Mm-hmm. So when I speak, it's more of like I said, I pull myself out of it and I look at it for what it is. And I can't put my own biases and my own thought processes into this because I'm not in it. I don't have any children. I've never been married. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know what that side of it is. I just know the raw data and the life experiences from the people that I know and that I have seen. You understand what I'm saying? So like I said, when I speak, it's more of an objective point of view. I'm not judging nobody.
Yeah, of course not.
I'm not judging nobody. I'm just looking at a behavior and I'm looking at a systematic thing that's happening. And I'm saying, okay, this is systematic, but also on the flip side of that, we're not stupid.
Yeah.
We're not stupid. We know this is happening. And we know this is happening and we know how detrimental, for lack of a better term, it is for us. You understand what I'm saying? We know this.
So throughout a man's logic, through all of these observations and behaviors, you got a decision to make, right? Because I've shown you things that you can't unsee. I've confirmed things that you have experience, right? So Antoine's sitting back saying, how can someone make these choices when they already know these metrics? Now, let me just throw that part. Let's just give a little bit of grace for the sake of
just a teaspoon.
Right?
Just a teaspoon.
Let's just say you got the men that's out there just lying to the women. You know what I'm saying? They get what they want out of them like this, and that's a pattern of behavior there too. Because we're not saying that they don't exist. We're gonna acknowledge every potential behavior that could have tricked these women out of their draws to be with these types of men. Okay, got it. But then you got some guys that tell them straight up, and they still do it anyway. And somebody's probably saying, "No, it don't happen like that." I got a video for you. You ready?
Shit.
You ready? All right, here we go.
I got 7 kids and 7 baby mamas. Now, for the past few days, I've been going live telling my story, speaking my truth. And a lot of women having an issue calling me a deadbeat because I tell them I was being irresponsible, yet not wearing protection. But I always tell these women that I got pregnant that I do not want to be a father to these children. And I offer to pay for the abortion. Majority of times, they'll either take the abortion or they'll take a plan B. But only these 7 have kept these children. But the crazy thing about it is they want me to be responsible for some children I told them I did not want. So for some years now, some of them been trying to get in contact with me, access denied. Because I don't really know why you trying to get in contact with me. I done told you I did not want them kids. So don't expect me to be responsible financially, emotional, spiritually, mentally, or physically with some kids I do not want. And I don't give a fuck what nobody think about it. You're not going to force children up on me. Yeah, we both made the decision to lay down and have intercourse. We both was irresponsible about the decisions we made that night. Yeah, I could have pulled out, but I didn't. And I ain't care to pull out because I'm not the one that's going to have to carry a baby for 9 months. It's the woman. In my opinion, women should be more careful on who they sleep with. Because you're going to be like, one of my baby mamas trying to find me so I can financially support a kid I done told her or them I did not want. Another thing is, these just jump offs. These the type of women that I ain't even had to do nothing for. The bare minimum, but they gave me access to their body and they think I want to be a father to a child for one of them? Like, I don't even have no type of love for these women. How do they expect me to love these children? Before y'all say, oh, he irresponsible, he a deadbeat, he don't take accountability. Yeah, I do. I just don't give a fuck. You ain't gonna force these children on me when I told you I ain't want them. Yeah, I can offer to pay for abortion, but at what point can I force a woman to go get an abortion? I cannot. A woman say, my body, my choice, but I say, it's my life, my choice. Before y'all try to stitch this shit and be like, black man this, black man that, I don't give a fuck. I really don't.
Jesus H. Christ. It's funny, but it's not funny.
Shit,
that type of shit is not funny, man. That's not funny, bro.
I think these guys should write a book and cash in on their skills. Because whatever they're telling these women out there, it's working.
It don't even matter what they tell them. You see what I'm saying? Like, he's telling you that he telling them, and it's still not a deal breaker. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't add up. We don't process math the same way. We don't see, you know what I'm saying, what the other side thinks like, because you got disciplined thinking and you got undisciplined thinking. Period. So,
and see, man, those are the type of dudes that we get compared to.
And that's not
me. No. I'm staying out of that one.
No, I know what you're about to say, Chris.
But see, I'm out of it too.
Yeah.
But that's the type of stuff that gets
You're talking about
up.
the behavior. We ain't even talking about how
we're
only discussing the behavior, the documented, communicated behavior that they're telling us. They're telling everybody else.
God. My goodness, man.
And kids, even 7 baby mamas, and
I'm trying to get married and get one. What's up?
I'm trying to do it right.
So, bro, I'm trying to look for a fresh one. I can't even find a fresh one.
So to check on you guys learning, to see what you know, like based on the behavior that you observed, do you think this behavior is equally probable, or equally, does it occur equally in a likely in a two-parent home versus a single?
No, dude, that guy came from no father. What father is gonna let his child roam like that? And
I just wanted to do a quick, you know what I'm saying?
I know, but generally speaking, no dad wants that for his son.
I'm glad you said
generally
generally
no mother
speaking.
wants that for his son.
Yeah.
Let's just, I mean, that is across the board. I'd like to think so generally, unless he's running in the streets and they don't know where he is.
Yeah,
right.
But no parent wants that for their child, man. And to have that mentality and to keep going on and on and on, that is like, I just, you know, at his level and the way he was so honest about it, now I'm basing this on what he said and the way he is. I blame the women for spreading it for him. I blame the women. Because they know he's telling them. He told them. Like if he literally was telling the truth on telling them and really, really expressing he don't want no kids, and they're jump offs and they're labeled as jump offs.
And you shooting up every club you in?
I mean, all of them? You gotta blame the women if they know the story behind this guy. Like, no.
Hey, I'm just providing.
Oh my goodness!
I looked at how people are beefing, and when you look at a conflict, you got to say, why are people arguing with each other? Right? What's the topic? Then you listen to both sides, and then you listen. You say, well, I can see that point of view, and I can see that point of view, because your bias is either going to confirm or deny, right? Now, when you look at the behavior, you're like, well, I wouldn't be attracted to hanging around people that moved a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have any male friends that make those same types of decisions. So, which goes back to what you were saying, like the general comparison or general stereotypes and tropes towards men has been that a bunch of men got a bunch of babies running around. But we've already,
you're looking at 3 men right now having a conversation at 8:04 on a Wednesday evening that don't have any children and are trying to actually do it right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the ones that do, I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't need them in a mingle. You know what I'm saying? Like that. But the conversation is to level it out, because men ain't running around here in abundance, highly promiscuous the way, you know what I'm saying, the women are, because men are thinking about the numbers, what it's going to cost, you know what I'm saying, the efficiency of it, especially disciplined men with goals, dreams, purposes, and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? People that got stuff to do. They don't fit in recklessness. You know what I'm saying? Disciplined people do not fit recklessness into their schedules.
But Vic, I don't even believe this guy had good friends around him to say, bro, what are you doing?
He had competition. No, he had competition.
Yeah.
He does not have
what it looks like when you got highly competitive men and you know, like in isolated in certain environments, you get this type of behavior.
He had no adult. This guy, you could tell, had no adult upbringing. You could tell he had zero adult influence and upbringing, based on what he said and how he was thinking. I mean, whew.
And then there's other risks that come with these situations too. You know what I'm saying? With being with promiscuous women. You know what I'm saying? And being promiscuous. Promiscuity has a different degree of risk to everyday life in general, right? And one of the things that you're going to compromise is your freedom, your safety, and your wallet, right? More importantly, your freedom, because it don't even take much to get locked up. Because, like you said, you worked in capacities where you see men, you know, end up being in confinement. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's through the juvie center, but you saw the second and third order effects of that. So, like, I'm gonna play this other video of what it looks like when your freedom is compromised by a promiscuous woman.
And then I went to prison for 5 years. When I got out of prison in 2003, I paid child support from that day until just February of last year when I lost my job.
Only because they garnished your wages.
Absolutely, that's what they do. And I actually asked my public defender, Where's the proof? I've yet to see proof that the child's mine.
Mr. Manser, you are not
Oh, God.
his father.
Oh, man. 5 years in prison. Dylan, I'm sorry, bro. This is why. This is why I did what I did.
But this is
And
nothing I made up. The lab did.
You made it all up.
No, I did not.
Well, those results
I
apparently
don't know
are made
any
up.
of those people on that form.
Oh, my God.
This is clearly the most shocking
Very much.
news we've ever gotten in this courtroom.
Oh, my God. She should be convicted of some crime.
No, I should not. I did
That
not.
is fraud.
Mr. Miss Sear, do you know?
Yes, ma'am.
You know who his father is.
Yes, I talk to him still.
You cannot stand there and really suggest that you cannot comprehend why this man would not have any type of ill feeling, frustration, or regret as it relates to anything involving you. 5 years in prison. And then I say, do you know who your son's father is? And you say, yes, I'm still in touch with him. That is a really huge pill to swallow.
And then when I went to prison for...
That is amazing. But it's not, that is amazing, but to keep it real, is not unheard of.
Dude.
I'll tell you a story. I was running files one day. Guy went down to the child. I was down at the child support building. Guy went down there, was doing the right thing. I'm like, we went down there. He's like, well, I have these kids. I just got a new job. I want to do what's right. He was already on a pending order. He was like, I want to do what's right. Here's my information. You know what this woman did? This woman, after he left, this woman picked up the phone and called all 3 of his baby mamas and said, you know, he just got a new job and you know his income went up, right? So you know if he's not paying this, you can suspend his license and you can make his life miserable. You can get all of these things from him. You understand what I'm saying? That's how the system is built. That's really how the system is built. The system is not this. The system is built to extract resources from one party to another. And if the one party can't give up the resources, then that party's, like you say, that party's freedom is in jeopardy because he can't give up the resources that the courts deem necessary. The courts can even make a man a father, like literally sign a piece of paper that says you are the dad until a pending DNA test is taken as proven different. Even if you sign the birth certificate and you find out that the child isn't yours legally, you're still responsible because the birth certificate is no longer a piece of paper that's signed between a man and a woman that says this child is mine. A birth certificate, just like a marriage license, is a piece of paper between the man and the state saying that no matter what, I'm going to take care of all of this. And if I can't take care of all of this, then I'm held legally responsible. You understand what I'm saying? That's how the system's built. But and this is why I say, man, we know this. We're not stupid. Like, we know this.
Disciplined men know this. Disciplined men don't get in these situations. And even if they do, it's isolated and it's based on deception. You know what I'm saying? Just like this right here, because he was doing the right thing.
That's like, man.
Because, and even when he was doing the right thing, he still got locked up. 5 years in prison for a kid that wasn't his, and then she know who to. Come on, man. Like R.I.P. to the 5 years in his life. You
man,
know?
Did they say why he went to jail though?
Yeah,
he went to jail because
it was the child support.
Not being able to provide resources when you are under a pending agreement with the state results in jail time and a restriction of your freedom.
That is so.
This is why you are starting to see an uprise of men on the internet talking about they don't even want to deal with this because the laws are so screwed up.
This is buck breaking.
This is really, really sad shit, boy.
This is buck breaking. You put a man's wallet in a vice.
You put his life in a vice, not just his wallet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a gradual progression, and there's no recourse for this. There's no, you know what I'm saying. There's no law, you know, that can remedy this situation.
Nope. Which is oh my God. That's just.
That
And
is
like I
so.
said, man, this is why a lot of the fellas out here are saying that they don't want to deal with this stuff, man, because the laws are against us. Because the majority of the time, the men are the breadwinners. I mean, you got a handful of women that are paying child support, and I think that that's going to start actually going up because women are out, according to the narrative, women are supposedly outpacing men. So you're going to start seeing more women coming out of their pocket too. And I think when you start seeing that, you're going to start seeing the laws change because the women are starting to get affected. But now the way that the laws are, man, listen, and to be honest, objectively speaking, I cannot blame them.
No,
I can't.
you gotta make the economic decision when it comes down to who you want to associate with. And it ain't because some things are cheap or expensive. Some things cost more than money.
And you know what kills me the most? You know, you have guys like me that are doing it right. I think I did it right, except in my earlier years. Looking for a woman to settle down with and to have a family with, obviously get married first, you know. And you see stories like this and you just sit back and go, do I really want kids? And do I really want her to be in my life? Honestly, man. And to think the coldness and just the way she spoke about it, like it was nothing, like he was replaceable. You know, that's why all these channels are popping up on social media and talking.
And this is why men have to choose better.
Men have to choose better.
Men have to choose better. You know what I'm saying? Like all of these situations that's being described, they're all self-inflicted. These are all consensual situations. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's some out there that's not consensual. I get that. You know what I'm saying? But we're not talking about those. We're
That's
talking
the
about
percent of a percent.
Percent of a percent. We're talking about the ones where the guy goes against the grain, and overlooks certain behaviors, accepts red flags, and you know these things don't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like in a vacuum. You know they happen with mutual connection, established. You know what I'm saying? Versions of trust, and then you get whatever outcomes you get. So people connect based off of what they can relate to. You know what I'm saying? That's how you build trust. If your trust is established on shallow, primitive behavior, you know what I'm saying? The rawest behavior possible is sexual connection. You know what I'm saying? Because animals reproduce. Even animals.
That's primal.
That's primal. That's in your nature. You know what I'm saying? But there are animals that are more selective in some cases than undisciplined people. So
oh my goodness, man. You know, just to see all these videos, it's sad. I mean, it really is sad. It's like, you know, I don't want to. I'm laughing, but I'm like in shock.
Antoine, I told you it was treacherous out here. And you know what I'm saying? Because
That makes me feel regret not getting settled down earlier in my life.
Hey, look, you hit the wall too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might have to climb over it. You know what I'm saying? And repel on the other side.
Can you blame the passport bros at this point?
I don't blame anybody for what they choose. It's our job to learn from it. It's our job to repurpose the same content that people have used to fight each other with and repurpose the education from it, because we should be learning from other people more than we should be relying on. We should be teaching each other about life out loud.
I think at this point you slip the doctor an extra 500 and say, brother, keep this between us, paternity test. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I love her now, but you know, just a little thing on the side. Can we just make that efficient? You know, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? A little something on the sidey.
Hey,
I'll tell you a story. I had somebody that I interviewed on my YouTube channel that went through that in real life.
Wow.
He got married and he has three beautiful daughters. He went down to the family court building and wanted to do the right thing. It's like, all right, I'm gonna put myself on child support because I really want to be in my kids' lives. And I know that since I'm married, I can't have them around I'm not gonna have them around like that. This man went down there and found out that the mother of his children hid the paperwork and walked him out of the building and said, I can't put you on child support for kids that don't belong to you.
Oh my goodness.
3 been in their lives since conception. I think he said a little bit over a decade, and to find out 10 years later that those children did not belong to him. It's on my channel. I clipped that specific part of it, and I put it on my channel specifically for that reason. That happens in real life.
That is so. What kind of woman does it take to do that, though?
An undisciplined one.
Anytime. How can you sleep at night?
Because
easily.
Apparently.
You got to understand, like, these people function in lack. Un means not. You know what I'm saying? It means it's in lack, right? Un means you can't expect an undisciplined person to possess empathy. You can't expect them to possess the same level of concern as you because they function in lack. The un is very important. You know what I'm saying?
Not to mention that they're not going to be held accountable for it anyway.
No, that's why they're undisciplined. Because
they're not going to be held accountable for it. They
what you should do,
because they know that they're going to get away with it.
What you should do is always compared to what you can get away with. And somewhere in there, the decision that you make is either going to be a disciplined decision or an undisciplined decision. This is why I say that they're undisciplined.
Now, let me preface this. This is not an attack on a specific demographic. This is just looking at a behavior and pointing out the behavior. We're just talking about behavior. Now, if this behavior is so intertwined in who you are that you get offended by it, that's a you problem.
Yep.
That ain't on us.
Yep. We ain't discussing no specific.
We're not saying no names.
Ain't nobody been tagged. We talking about
not doing none of that.
What people have shown us, and we have to make sense of what's been displayed to us because we don't necessarily relate to it, but it's still intriguing to figure out who is behind the gender war. Who has the most equity in the gender war? And I'm willing to believe and bet that the people that fit the promiscuous conversation that we're talking about have more equity in that situation than the people that do not have any children.
I'm going to say that it is a system thing because it is a system thing, and here's why. I've worked in it.
Break it down. Let's hear it.
Please break this one down.
Yep.
It starts from the top all the way down. Do you know that the states get a grant for how many child support cases and how many paternity cases that they have on the docket? Each state gets a bunch of money for that. So it goes from up, and then the judges get paid, the magistrates get paid, the attorneys get paid, the clerks get paid. It's a trickle down thing. I'm telling you, man, it's all systematic. It's all systematic, so that way the higher up gets paid, and we wind up fighting each other over something that really we shouldn't even be fighting over. It's not. It shouldn't even be a gender war. It should be us fighting the system. But we so. You know what? Nope. I'm not doing it tonight. Nope. I'm not doing it tonight. I said on Coach's channel that I was not going to be angry this year, so I'm not going to be angry. I'm not doing this. Nope.
But how can you not? I'm not angry. I'm just more disappointed because, if I make a mistake, I look and go, okay, I ain't doing that again. Ooh. Like if I had to redo things over and talk to the guy in the back in my past, I'd say, hey, bro, don't look, lift your head up and smell the roses. Like, no. But I just can't understand how these women and men could be so just fruitless, just not care and go through things like this. I mean, forget the guy with the money in the court and found out it wasn't his. Think of the feelings he's invested into that child all 5 years, thinking about him in prison. He's not there to raise him. He's not there. And then to find out he's not even biologically yours.
And you see the hurt that he felt.
Yeah, he was more hurt not by the money. He didn't care about the money. He was more like, you just sucked the life out of him. He doesn't even have a legacy now.
He went to prison for no reason.
Not to mention half of a decade of my life is gone for something that wasn't even true.
Bro,
I would go after her, man.
For what?
There's
though?
Nothing that you.
There's nothing you can do because you have to prove malicious intent, and they get to sit up.
I'm in jail. There's your malicious intent.
Yeah. So
I took
I
his
said I
dive.
wasn't doing this with you tonight. I said I was not going to do this with you tonight.
Now, I want to make sure that I got another video to play, and I want to show a version where the men are trying to reconcile, their behavior. They, what I'm saying, the things that they've gone through, because at some point, everybody has to have their own accountability moment, right? So I'm gonna play this clip right here of a group of men reconciling their behavior.
How many women?
16.
Terrence.
4.
4.
Children.
With?
2 different women.
Yeah. Ryan.
Almost 5 children with 4.
Almost 5.
Yes,
now talk to me about an almost 5.
I have another baby due November 22nd.
So 4 children.
4 children.
How many mothers?
4 different women.
4 different women.
Yes.
And you got a baby on the way. Okay. And John?
6 baby mothers, 11 children.
11 children. And Jumani?
I have 6 children with 4 different women.
4 different women.
Yes, ma'am.
Now here's what I want us to get. That these men collectively have 87 children. That includes Jay.
Wow.
With 50 different women. That is 137 people who are impacted by choices and decisions that you've made. No heat, no judgment. I've got some stats for you. Children who come from fatherless homes. And I say fatherless because 6 men, 87 kids, even if you're there, there are pieces that are going to be missing. Would that be accurate?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're not doing the best you can. I'm not saying that you don't want to be there. But at this point now, we have to look at the children's experience. Children from fatherless homes in this country, 5 times more likely to commit suicide than children who have a father in the home. 32 times more likely to run away. 20 times more likely to have a behavioral disorder. 14 times more likely to become sexually aggressive or commit rape. 10 times more likely to engage in drug abuse. It just breaks my heart. No heat, no judgment. You, to me, are the voice and the demonstration that's going to create a healing in this world. We have got to do better.
What? No judgment. What is she? I'm judging. Come on. What? No, I am judging. Yes, I'm judging. I am judging these men and these 3 I am judging. Because you know what you're going into. This guy said he had 1 on the way, so she knows he already had 4. I mean, no, I'm judging. This is really ridiculous. No judge. No, let's judge. Them nasty women, the nasty men. I'm judging. All men ain't like that, you bunch of hoes. The children always pay the price for one's hoish actions. Goddamn. Could you put a white guy up there too? Shit. Are you kidding me right now? I'm no foul, no judgment. What the hell are you talking? Then why are they there? Why are they there? No foul. Why are they there? 80. What did she say? 80, 100?
87.
These women in the background. Some of them justifying in their mind. Well, you don't know their outcome. You don't know what they did or what they've been through. You don't know what they're suffering. I could see it in their face. Trying to come up with every excuse to explain that shit that was standing up there. I could see it in their face. Some of them were like, well, that ain't me. I got 2, but I know like, what the? You can see it, boy. You can see that shit. They were trying their best to judge it. And what's your name? The host trying to keep a straight face. You knew she wanted to walk down there and slap each of them. And she wanted to. I was looking for if any of the women in the crowd go stand up and say, yeah, one of them's me. I made that mistake. None of them. And they're probably sitting right there watching this asinine shit. Holy. Lord have mercy. You know what we ought to do in the black community? Take a nice 747, open up the cargo bay door, and drop some condoms and some nice condoms and some birth control and put it in big. Well, that's what we got to do. That's how we start there.
No, let me tell you, like that, and that's the whole point, right? These people exist. These people exist. There's nothing that they don't care about the same things that other people care about. And yeah, which is why you have to leave people where they are like-minded at. If you're not like-minded, then those problems, you can't pick up the burden of explaining that when that's not your journey. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people are caping for the wrong folks. So some people need to defend themselves. And if you don't defend
that, bro,
there's no defending that. Like,
there's no defending that, man.
I gotta take this. This goes back to what Chris said. This ain't our fight,
and I don't want a goddamn thing.
It's not our fight. We don't have anything to do with that.
I didn't start it. I'm not in it, so I don't want nothing to do with it.
Then you cannot get mad when others judge and look at the community and
exactly.
go,
That comes with it.
If you say that, that's when I agree with Trump and the border. Put a border around that shit. Like, you only put a border around that shit. Like, find some way to fence it. Find some way to sterilize it. Find some way to house it somewhere. Put it on a fucking island. Do something. God damn. Put a landmine around it so if they step out of that border, they're blowing up. Something. Are you kidding me right now? Listen to that. Listen to those numbers in that room. That's shameful. So imagine if I'm a white guy looking at this shit going like, God damn, these people don't know nothing.
Well,
like,
look,
I would judge it like that.
Yo, they got their own.
Did you see the look on these women's faces? They were trying to find some way to justify this shit. None of them even went like this. None of them even did an expression like, God, nothing. They were like, yeah, I know a few. That's right.
Because like this is the thing though, right? Even in that discussion, it was centered on, like on the men and what they did, right? But what does it look like? Imagine that panel with women. You know what I'm saying? Like in the hot seat instead of the men.
They would never make a show like that. It's easier. We always get knocked out. They would never make a show.
Which is the point that every time that we talk about who's responsible, we see that they're we know better. There's more than enough examples of knowing better. So like at some point when you start getting these type of outcomes, we have to talk about mental health. Because at what point, how many baby mamas and baby daddies do you have to create before somebody say you mentally ill?
Dude, it's not even that. It's not even that.
Think about it. No, like seriously, think about it. Like, let's say you don't have no resources, you got nothing to your name, and
you just out here shooting up clubs for nothing.
For nothing.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is and like I said earlier, this is why I said we have to give them a teaspoon of grace, because none of us were taught how important our seeds were until we got out of the situations that we were in. I never understood the responsibility of carrying a spark of life until I got out of the environment that I was in. Nobody taught the ladies how their womb might be the most important part of the world, because that houses the children, and you can't just let any old body invade your womb like that. You understand what I'm saying? We were never taught this. So this is why I extend a little bit of grace. However, to Vic's point, we're not. I extending
nothing. I extended. Do you think I
know what?
Condom? God damn it!
And you damn right.
The morning after pill. The morning after pill. Something, man. This is the disregard for human life is just listen to the disregard for human. Imagine if you're a kid growing up in that environment. Just the kid alone is not even gonna. That's why these kids are all messed up in school. And you want me to extend grace?
But see, they don't. And this is why I said earlier.
I gotta judge them. I'm sorry. No.
And you know what?
I ain't giving them no grace. I ain't giving them nothing.
I ain't mad at you.
Pure whole bill.
However, this is why I said earlier that instead of looking at children as bartering tools and control mechanisms and possessions that you can use to siphon resources from the state and from the dude you let shoot the club up that didn't really want you, he just wanted to bust a nut. You understand what I'm saying? We weren't taught this. We weren't taught this. We are privy to new information. So now us right here, We could start teaching them, hey man, you can't be doing that, man. This ain't cool. You understand what I'm saying? However, that type of sexually undisciplined behavior is encouraged. That's why I said that, and to Vic's point, that's why I said, and what he said earlier, and I'm going to co-sign, it is on us. We have to start being responsible for our seeds, because there's a sexual revolution happening out there, and they're allowed to do whatever they want. And if we say something, there's something wrong with us. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to be careful. It's on us now.
Yeah,
That's
because
why
we
it's so
can't,
hard to find a fresh one, boy.
because check this out, right?
Can't do it.
It's not men's responsibility to correct women. It's everybody's responsibility to correct themselves. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you can break down all of these videos and somebody can still find fault more resting more heavily on one side than another, that's one different discussion all by itself. But at the end of it, when you get all of the information presented to you, all of the risk has been presented to you, you still have an individual decision to make at the end of it. Because you can't control nobody but yourself. You only got your 5 senses. And if men submit to higher information, then based on what I'm showing you, you got to make different decisions. You can't unsee what I've shown you. Like, you don't fit in these demographics, or either you do.
But you have to be willing to call out this stuff. It's fine. You could stay outside, say, that's not me. I'm not going to get involved. I'm doing this. I'm a better man. But you still have, these women should have friends to call out them and say, listen, you can't be doing that.
These
men should be having friends to say, bro.
And that's why it's insane. And that right there, Antoine, is like, that's a utopian stance. They should have friends that advise them differently. That's what you just said. But the friends that they have compete for these men.
They're all in the same dating pool.
They all in the same dating pool.
That's one nasty dating pool.
That's why I got out of it and I took a shower.
That is one nasty dating pool.
People
bro.
getting pregnant in a pissy dating pool, man. And that's what I'm saying. These are the people that are in the dating pool that everybody's complaining. These people are complaining with each other. It's not the disciplined people that don't get down like that. You know what I'm saying? So these are the people that's muddying this behavior is what's causing the murk in the dating pool.
No, this behavior is why I can't find a fresh one. This behavior is why I can't find a fresh one. This behavior is why I can't find a fresh one. Let's say it like it is. This behavior is why I can't find one without a mini me. Most of them have a mini me. Now you know why. Imagine this is in one room, and this is why you can't find a fresh one. You gotta go through the used good aisle. Like, holy shit. You know, that's why my 2 questions. Do you have kids and do you want one? Boy, if it's a yes and a yes, date's over. What do you want me to tell you? I'm not taking care of another man's mistake. And you got what? How many? And any woman that even hears a guy has like 2 or 3 kids, why would she even think? And he's a regular guy making a regular paycheck of 42, whatever the estimated average guy makes.
Or he's like the guy with 7 kids who don't want nothing to do with him in the first place.
You're getting nothing from him. And then you have to imagine you want a nice guy like me to come in and hear that tells me that, wait a minute, you're okay, you have 1 kid, but you mean to tell me you knew that guy had 5 other kids and you still did that? Do the math.
And I got to deal with him and you at the same time?
Look, then, so I brought up.
Wait.
Go ahead.
And here's another thing. There's this law called the Equitable Parenting Act.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up. It's a law that says it was originally for same-sex couples to see what got divvied up if there was a dissolution. However, they're trying to make it so that if a man is with a woman and that woman has a kid and I think they either have to be married for 5 years or that child has to have a substantial relationship with the man and view that man as a father figure. That woman can take that man that didn't have anything to do with creating that child to court for child support. They're trying to do that now.
I'm telling you,
that's why I said the man has to be dead. See that?
Yeah. Hey, this is why, you remember earlier what I said, buck breaking? It used to be a different type of practice to make an example. But some men are getting
now they're using economics.
You're using economics to, you know what I'm saying, basically extort, you know what I'm saying, your wallet. And if you and because you're basically monetizing your nature. They're basically monetizing your nature, you know. And so what I was about to say too is that, you remember earlier I said it's not our responsibility to correct women. We just supposed to focus on men, you're mentoring men, right? Ultimately. So, but I did find a clip of a woman offering some advice to women that move in this, you know what I'm saying, in throughout this dating pool, whether they're disciplined or undisciplined.
Oh, I gotta hear this.
Oh shit.
I gotta hear this one.
Are you
Let
ready?
me mute my
I'm
mic.
ready. Let's go. Let me hear the justifying this bullshit.
Okay.
That sleep around the most that will say men are trash. But the women in healthy relationships are not usually the ones saying that. So if this formula is working, why are you allowing trash to enter your vagina?
I agree.
Now I bet you all through that comment section, she got called a pick me, pick Misha,
Hey,
some type of shaming tactic. I bet you.
I'll pick that any time.
I cracked the code on what a pick me is.
Oh, what is it? Please enlighten me.
A woman with common sense.
Ooh, you know what? I like that. I like that, Vic. I'm gonna have to keep that one.
Yeah.
Wow, a woman with common sense. I like, but I don't understand. What's wrong with being a pick me? She got picked, man.
Common sense. You understand what I'm saying?
Somebody wanted her.
You see
how logical that sounds? Do you understand? Do you see why I am always so goddamn angry? Do you understand it? It's common sense, but common sense just is not common. You understand what I'm saying? It's
not popular.
You know, it's like, whew, I'm trying to be respectful, man. But
breathe, inhale, exhale.
It's
If you need to
not
go take
that-
a shot, go take a shot.
Now I know why people drink.
Yeah, breathe.
It's just, she's so right. Why would you let that enter? Like, it cannot be that good. Like, it just, it's like you don't smell it before you let it happen. Like, you don't see it. Like, you know, if an apple is bad, you look at the worm, you don't exactly bite it. You know what I mean? You know, it's like if you go down and you get the woof, you don't exactly continue to eat. Like, holy shit. It's like, you know, it's like, I can't for the life of me. Like, doesn't she think about herself?
Hey, man.
Yeah, she does. She does think about herself. She thinks
put a
about
lot of
how
thought
many
into it.
resources that she can extract from the person, from the quote unquote trash that she's allowing inside of her. That's what it is now. It's a monetary. It's a money. It's a cash grab.
It
It's a
cannot
cash
be
grab without having to
A
do
guy
any
like
work.
that is not driving a Mercedes, bro, because he doesn't have the money for a Mercedes. A guy like that.
The thing is, though, the courts can make him pay. That's what it is. They're doing this because they know that there is an entire system that will force the man to be accountable, whether he wants to be or not.
But
That's
dude, at
what
the end of the
that's
day,
what they're
you
taught.
But Chris, he's got no money to pay anyway, so you still get nothing.
And then he gets locked up.
And then the guys that you're looking for something solid after the mistake you made and you didn't know better, or you were young and dumb. I was young and dumb. Whatever else there is, and then you want the next guy to come around and say, "Baby, I love you. I want to take care." No. For what? For what?
Do you see the emotion that you're evoking right now, Antoine?
That's
me all the time. That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry.
Oh, I like that one. That was good. Show me the pop.
I told you, man, I don't have the guns anymore.
Oh man.
Let me wrap the show up. Like, at this point, we're gonna have a lot more conversation backstage, I'm sure. And I got some questions. I'm gonna probably pop up I'll probably save them for the next one.
No, give me one question. Give me one.
All right.
We got Chris. Let's give you a question.
Let's see here. Men in two-parent homes will advise their daughters to preserve themselves. Without men, women are likely to compete with their daughters over the worst sexual options. True or false?
Absolutely. Because women live vicariously through their daughters.
Okay. I heard a quote.
It's a nature.
I heard a quote. I think it came from Maggie, the substitute teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She said there's a huge difference between men and women.
I saw that, yeah.
Men see themselves in younger men, meaning they see the mistakes and the potential growth that young boy can have, and they'll try to steer them in the direction that'll be more conducive to their growth.
Like that.
Women see themselves as younger women, meaning that they can do the same thing that the younger women can do, and that's really not the case. And on the flip side of that, it's true to an extent, because I'm starting to side eye a lot of these girl dads out here too, because a lot of these girl dads are projecting how they were onto the men that the women that their daughters are bringing into their lives, and they're going along with this trope about how we're trash and all of this other stuff to keep their daughters out of doing whatever they're going to do. So I'm starting to see a lot of girl dads condone a lot of fuck shit. So it's true to an extent. You understand what I'm saying? It's true to an extent, but I've also seen the flip side of it. But the flip side of it is a percent of a percent. It's not the whole. I'll never say all or anything, because only a Sith deals in absolutes. Word to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I like that.
Yep.
I'll never say all, but generally speaking, based off of the image that the people in mainstream media and in social media are putting on us, that's what I see. I'm looking at a behavior.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it as a community, dude. You can't blame. That's why the community is in the state that it's in, and people view it the way
We don't have
the communities.
I was telling Vic people that live next door to each other.
Exactly. I was telling Vic this. There ain't no more community. That community, I think there's no way to saving that community. That community is done. Too many people are moving away from that shit. Too many people are moving away from that shit. I wouldn't even live next to that shit. Shit, I wouldn't even socialize with that shit. Shit, I even tear up the invitation for that shit.
That's because you have common sense.
All right. I'm finna drop another question.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Chris. You're right.
This is about being disciplined. This ain't, you know what I'm saying? It's far beyond common sense. People love saying common sense ain't so common. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna say, are you making a disciplined or undisciplined decision? Bottom line. So with that said, here you go. Anybody want to read that?
Oh shit. Sexually undisciplined women will sleep with these men unprotected, and knowing it can go left. Men cannot be blamed for women's choices when they're transparent.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, now that I think about it, I can actually say somebody I knew was very disciplined then. It's true. A woman would definitely not want to get pregnant, she would tell you straight up, I can't do it I can't do it. It's not happening. I want to, I love you, and I want to, not even I love you. I want to, I'm feeling heated just like you, but I'm not doing it. It's true, Vic. Very true.
All right.
Very true.
All right. Let's see here.
You don't even allow the tip. That's true.
Just
saying.
I think, going back to the original question, right? What can we do as a community to affect future generations from repeating behaviors associated with a lack of sexual discipline? Is you got to let people be who they are, and you have to make a disciplined decision. What is the disciplined decision? The disciplined decision is typically going to be the efficient decision that's going to allow you to live the best version of yourself. If you think the best version of you goes through multiple children with multiple partners, then have at it. If you
just keep me the hell out of it.
That's the decision.
So I believe in order for that to come around, what can you do to affect change in generations to come? You got to call it out right now for what it is and put a stop to it. No matter, you cannot justify it, you cannot walk away if you want to change what's happening from within, right? Because else history will repeat itself, because there's nobody there to tell them any different. And as smart as we are, as men as we are on this panel right now, and I can say we smart because we ain't going through that shit. For the knowledge that we do have, we have to call it out for when we see it. I will never if a woman tells me she has 4 kids, I will ask her straight out, why were you hoeing around like that? Or at least get married to one. I'm going to call her out on it. No, why are you doing it? Why you spread it so easy? You can tell me 1 mistake. 2, I'm like, okay, you know what? 3, you became a hoe. 4, you just spreading it. I'm calling you out on it because there's no way for that. And women got to call out other women to say, listen, If you want a nice guy down the later on down the path, this is not the way to go. Right now, I don't even know if you can get a man anymore because men are wising up. Men want the best for themselves, and men are making the best versions of themselves. Vic. They're making themselves the best version of themselves so they can have quality.
And you know what's crazy?
Men are changing.
And you know what's crazy? At a core level, you can even hear how Antoine and I are talking. Like we want to be married. We want to have kids. Yeah. We want relationships.
I want my wife working too, goddammit. Then I know she's busy doing something.
Look, he always got to
say. But I mean, at a core base primal level, we want this. You understand what I'm saying? Like we do. It's just I hate to say it, but the pickings are slim, and there's an entire system that's against us.
Look, listen, man. The passport bros started for a reason, even though I don't think there's that many of them. But they're definitely giving you something to think about because it's not worth it. Vic, I still stick to it, man. The man's got to be dead.
Hey, look, man, we're getting a lot of feedback. Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. I want to highlight you guys before we get out of here too. You know, I think we've, you know what I'm saying, we've expanded as much as we can expand. So let's talk to our audience a little bit, right? Shout out to all my people that's viewing live in Barbados. You know what I'm saying? And checking
Barbados.
Yeah, we got some people from Barbados.
Right, some islanders.
Yeah, shout out to my man, Mr. Re-Up over there.
There you go.
And then one of my partners from Savage Supreme Bully Kennel said, "Great show, fellas." And shout out to my man Gino Reyes. Hey, Gino, put up your links to your podcast, man. So
I heard that name before. I like Gino. Gino and I should come on the show.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Plug your shit, son.
Yeah. Gino, hey, drop the links, man. What's going on?
Son.
Gino says when he's referring to the guy that had the 7 and 7. You know, he said when he compared himself to a woman with her body, her choice, he showed he wants to operate like a woman because that's most likely.
Yeah.
You see
what I tell you?
Yep.
No father in the home. Gino nailed it with that one.
Yep. And when there's no secure, responsible male presence around, you start to think like you can move like your environment until the real world punches you dead in your gut and tells you can't.
Yep. Shout out to Gino for the feedback.
Word to Gino.
Yeah.
I gotta give Gino props on that one. That was nailed. He nailed it on that one.
One of my folks, Jessica Lynn Fraser, they believe what they want to believe. Every woman thinks she's the one that's going to change him.
But it still don't mean you gotta see. But you gotta put the right thing. It still doesn't mean you don't freaking cover it up or something. Put a cork in it. Something, man.
Put a cork in it.
Put a cork in it. No one's saying that, but have some protection. 17 forms of birth control. One of them's got to work, or better yet, use the best one of all. Keep your damn legs closed. Holy shit! No one enforced that. Women will believe what they want to believe. Yeah, they believe they're stupid. God damn, come on, man. You had me up until you put the period at the end of him.
Yeah.
Finish it off.
Well, hey, look,
in that sentence.
She's basically highlighting the woman's responsibility in the situation. You know, so she wasn't blaming anybody. You know,
I'm blaming. Yes,
you start blaming away, Antoine. Blame away.
We need to start blaming. We need to start pointing the finger. We need to start doing that. We need to start calling out this shit.
Hey, Taylor says you better do the math.
That was when we were talking earlier.
Yeah, we had to take off, you know, some shoes, but we had to take away who's not responsible first. First thing, you know, like when you're doing some adjustments and this is troubleshooting, right? Because everybody's got a problem with the product, but the product needs to be adjusted. You don't just start turning a bunch of knobs all at the same time. You eliminate what's not causing the problem first and foremost. Now you can see who is in the issue, and that's what this particular show was designed to show. Like, there's a lot of y'all arguing with people that you would never be attracted to at all. So if you're not attracted to them, what's the value of their opinion?
But Vic, people are hearing this. We still need to voice it so they.
Oh yeah.
So people need to know this is not the way to go. We still need to call it out and say, hey, you know what? Young men out there, brown bag it? No. And I'm telling you, if it doesn't smell right, it ain't right, and back away.
This is for the young men. This platform, this particular show is dedicated to educating men in general, but young men about what's out there based on the decisions that you choose. And then the men that have been participants in this behavior, and so they can relate to it, make the adjustments that come with it. I've had a lot of offline consults with men about, how they got into these situations. And just like you, Chris, who can speak towards what it's like to be in, the son of a single mom and seeing how much treachery that you already overcame and how much worse it could have been if you were, operating in your nature a lot differently. You know what I'm saying? And this is just, what happens. It doesn't matter if it reflects your life or not. It still exists. This behavior is out there. You know what I'm saying? So like, when we get ready to do the second and third part of this, we're going to have a much different discussion. We're going to expand on the solutions. And, I just want to say, I appreciate everybody for participating in it. And
I give Chris props for getting out of that situation. My goodness.
I didn't have a choice. It was either that or death.
I know, but I give you props to even see the difference between that. Like to even navigate through that shit. Are you kidding me right now?
Whew. Yeah. Hey, well, we on the other side of it now. So we've broken the ice. We've opened up the discussion. We'll just wait for the feedback, man. To everybody that was watching the show, we appreciate you, and